Hey, everybody. Welcome in. Welcome in. April 8th, 2024, the day of the eclipse. I'm just trying to set my phone so I could watch the chat as we're live. How's everybody doing? How's everybody's Monday? Let's see. All right. Morning. Hope everybody's doing well. Had a good weekend. Birthday was Friday. I was trying to have a live Friday, but we had an earthquake here, which was pretty interesting. Let's see. Cold Truth is in the house, and Cold Truth is going to call in today and hang out for a bit. I don't know how much time she has, but she's going to stop in. Hey, morning. Libby, morning. How are you? Nice and early today, 11 a.m. I was going to go on again at 10, but I had a couple things to do. And I also noticed that I had the live set for 11 p.m. So I fixed that about an hour and a half ago, 2 hours ago. What's everybody up to? Waiting for some more to come in. Got a lot to go over today. I actually had some questions sent to me in Reddit about when Richard Allen became a suspect after he was interviewed, what would take place. We'd go over all that. Could do anything you want. Whatever you want to cover, we'll do. So birthday weekend spent with the family, with the kids. Had a good weekend. Just that earthquake was really strange. And I don't think I've ever felt an earthquake before, but you knew instantly what it was. It's just everything shook. It was pretty wild. You know, at one point it kind of felt like the roof was going to cave in, but it was all good. And what's everybody feel about this eclipse today? Conspiracy theories going wild that it's not the moon, but it's some weird ancient planet, which is kind of crazy. I don't know, but that's the way of the world. You got crazy people. Morning. Good morning, Seaster. How are you? My doggie went for a nice long walk, had her running, so she's sleeping. I'm sure she'll start crying in a little bit. Once she hears me talking, she thinks I'm talking to somebody like right in front of me, and she wants to be there, like she's going to miss something. And an earthquake in Mexico many years ago. That must have been interesting, being away in another country and feeling the shake. It was pretty wild. It really was. It was a very interesting experience. I got to be honest. My wife was a nervous wreck at work. She called me like instantly. I'm like, oh, that was an earthquake. Yes, it was. Definitely was an earthquake. I tried something new today. We're actually live on X, the old Twitter. So we're live on X also. Just added that in, see how that goes. I felt one quake about 17 years ago. It was wild. Yeah, it's some experience. It really was. It was kind of like, wow. It was New York's not known for earthquakes like that, and it happened. Nothing you could do. Nothing you can do. Hey, Jinx. Good morning. Good morning. So I'm sure everybody saw the new filing was pretty interesting. The way the defense sent in, they sent in the way the court should read the Frank's motion. It's very interesting stuff. It's like I don't even know how to take some of the stuff that's being filed. It's really wacky. And you know what? Wacky things happen in every case. That's just the way of the world. We don't see it every day because who's following. You're not following every single case, but still interesting stuff. Thanks, Jinx. Yeah, big 45. Feel like I'm 25. A couple extra aches and pains. We're all good. We're going. Oh, Vince, I didn't read this. CD, I have to believe that the kid in Tennessee's parents are involved. I didn't think so initially, but something's not right there. I agree. I said it from the beginning. When kid goes missing that's never ran away before, middle of the night, just the way it was going, you have to question. What's going on. Mom and the stepfather. Some interesting history there. There's a lot to it. I think there's a lot to it. I think more is going to come out. I know that there was a SA incident to the poor kid when they were living, I believe, in California. If you don't protect your children, nobody will. That's just the way of the world. And you got to be very careful with what you're doing. You have to be very careful with what you're doing with your children, because it's very hard to trust people. I got 3 kids. 12. My daughter's 12. My middle son is 8, and my little guy's 3. And I'm very leery of people. Even if I know people, you just don't know. You don't know, and you don't know what somebody's capable of. Is it true, Mel? I see you. I'm going to get to you in 1 second. I hope you're doing well. Happy to see Mel back in the back room there, hanging out. Is it true KA gave RA a false alibi in 2017? I haven't heard that, but listen, and everybody wants to talk about the unspent bullet. I'll talk about it today. I don't have a problem. Let's talk about it. Because to me, there's only 3 real reasons why that bullet, was ejected from the gun. 3 reasons. And you tell me what fits best, and we'll go from there. Oh, my kids are excited. My little guy's at school today. I'm picking the other 2 up early. I'm not picking him up early. 3 years old. I have the glasses. I can't trust that he's going to keep them on. I just don't think it's safe. I really don't. Peter, what's up, man? Let me tell you something about Peter. Peter was messaging me monthly, when are you coming back to YouTube? And I told him, man, I'm busy coaching. I promise I will get back. Just busy with stuff. And I told him I'd get back, and here I am. Steph, what are you doing? Hope all is well. Sam, you know what? Sometimes, depending on what age you're saying adult, you always have to worry. There are predators that are preying on children daily. If you're not protecting your kids, who will? That's the bottom line. Who will? Who's going to do it? Especially kids when they get to that age where they're, a little self-confident, their self-confidence is down, and they're, craving some attention, and somebody's giving it. There are warning signs. You just have to be paying attention for them. And I told you about the case I had one time where this young girl, she maybe was 15. She went into like a donut store. It wasn't Dunkin'. It was just a town donut store. And she went inside to use the bathroom. And the way this place was set up is like an old, you think of like a really old small diner. You open the door, you got your coffee counter where you would stand to get your coffee. And then you had like 10 stool seats to your left there where you could sit, and maybe a few tables. The bathroom there, you can only access by going out the back of the restaurant into a hallway where there was a shared bathroom with some offices back there and whatnot. So this girl went over, she asked for the key, she goes in the back, and she gets attacked by the worker at the donut store. And I showed up. I was pretty much the first one there, and I knew she wasn't lying instantly. I instantly called for, get us a female detective ASAP, put her in the ambulance with the female paramedic. I said, do not ask her any questions until the detective gets there. And we locked him up instantly. And he's found guilty. I think he did. I want to say it was before everything was said and done. He was in the county for like maybe 10 months, and then he was shipped back to Pakistan. Disturbing. But he tried to play his game like, oh, it didn't happen. Let me tell you something. It was very descriptive. It was disgusting. He basically waited. He let her put the key in the door. As soon as she put the key in the door, he knocked her down and attacked her. Not even caring that there could have been another female in that bathroom. It wasn't like a single use. But that's what he did. And that's, you can't trust anybody. You just can't. And it felt great putting handcuffs on that man. Oh, it felt great. And it took a lot. we have to have restraint. It's just the way it is. But let me tell you something. That was one of the days where the way he was talking, like calling her a liar, it took a lot to hold back and not just crush his face. But you got to do what you got to do. And justice was served. And that pretty much shut that business down. Even though he wasn't an owner, he was family with the owners. And that was pretty much it. That was the icing on the cake for them. Tennessee's boy's dad said 13-year-old neighbor always wanted to hang out with the very young son, age 6 or so. Red flag. Always red flags, Anna. There's always red flags. Sometimes as a parent, you're naive to it. You don't want to believe that's happening, but there's always a sign. There's always something. Let's talk about any adult that's showing extra attention to your kid. It's a little bit odd. Let me tell you, a little bit odd. Let's bring Cold Truth in.
Hey, dude.
Hey, what are you doing?
I'm watching you right now.
That was life. I'm happy you said you'd come on. I don't know how much time you got.
Well, I've got. We're having a little eclipse party at my brother's. So
wow, a little eclipse party, huh? I'm excited. I mean, in 2017 we had that one, but yes. it was really. I didn't actually. I had the glasses, but stupid me is like, let me go outside and not put them on. But I'm like this, and I just remember seeing. It seemed like it was like frozen raindrops, if that makes sense, of what was like visual, which was really, really strange. I wouldn't look up, but I just looking forward, you saw like this like hazy, rainy setting.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like the cloud covered, like different things affected. But this one, I think Indiana is like the only place that in the range of totality we're supposed to have like a really. I think it starts in Texas at 12:30. So I'm just outside of Indianapolis, which is right in the center of the line.
That's awesome, though. So at least you're getting the totality. I mean, for me to get to totality, I think I'd have to drive a couple hours. Not really interested. I got to be honest.
Yeah.
I was trying to talk about it last night, right? I'm trying to talk about my kids last night. So my kids are like hit or miss. My son's 8, and he's starting to get into wrestling. But if his friends want to play, like he'll stay on FaceTime and play his games, not pay attention. So last night I had WrestleMania on. My daughter's watching me. I'm trying to get him. I'm like, come on, you got to watch this. I'm like, Hulk Hogan might come out. He's like, who is Hulk Hogan? I'm like, is he green? I'm like, man, you're sheltered. You don't. I was like,
Randy Savage.
I love man too. I mean, listen, those were the days of the '80s wrestling. There was nothing better. Everybody was a fan. Hulk Hogan with his size and just listen. I know he got wacky in his later years. It happens. Yeah. But that's the guy I remember from my childhood. It was a great experience.
Mine too. My parents, we're close to the same age, aren't we?
I'm fine. I just turned 45. I think so.
Yeah.
So
happy birthday, dude.
Yeah,
happy. I'm like not quite a year older than you.
Yeah, you're right. We talked about this last time that we were close in age.
Yeah.
So listen, I'll tell you a funny story because I was trying to explain to them, like, listen, we were set on what gear they wore. And Hogan had the yellow trunks, the yellow boots, or the red boot, whatever it was. I said, and my parents took me in '91 to Madison Square Garden. It was in the middle of the Desert Storm. So I'm a 12-year-old kid, and Hogan comes out wearing army fatigues and this weird like green face mask. It wasn't a gas mask, but it was like this like plastic shield. I was hell bent. I'm like, I was so pissed off because because the whole thing was Sergeant Slaughter supposedly turned to Iraq, and he came out with what the hell's that guy's name? The short guy I think he was from Iraq or he's from the Middle East. He just recently.
Macho Man Randy Savage is the only other one.
He was around. He was around from the beginning with Andre and everything else. As soon as I brain farts, you know how it goes. But anyway, Sergeant Slaughter teamed up with him, and they came out with an Iraq flag. Place was going nuts. This is MSG. Place is going crazy. So that was the whole story behind it. But I'm trying to explain it to them, like, back then we cared about what they wore. Like it was, just the way it was. Just great experiences.
Oh yeah. I mean, that was like the one, like between my dad, my brother, and I. That was our bonding time. Was watching. It's WWE, right? Is that what it's?
Yeah. It was WWF when we were younger.
Me and my brother had one of those rings. Do you remember those? The ring, and then you could I can't remember exactly how it operated, but it was like where they had the ones where you could punch us up, but then they had the actual WWF ring that you had the little figures for. Mhm.
Then you could like
But
attach the
you could
steel
play them.
cage. Yeah, you could play
Oh,
them.
we
Yeah, yeah.
had it all.
Oh, I mean that's the people understand. It was like that and GI Joe in the middle to late '80s was like the thing. Then Transformers came. It was a great
There
childhood.
was like there was one. It was more of like a figurine type thing, or maybe it was a punching bag. But I can remember me and my brother were like, if we combine our
You know what they had? They had the one. They had the one that was like weighted that you could knock down. Yes,
yeah,
that's what you're talking
we
about.
both wanted it. So we
Of
were like
course.
trying to bargain with our parents of like that could be a present for the both of us. We could
That's
still get
awesome.
other presents, but
That's awesome.
we could get that together.
That is so awesome. Listen, it's a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. It was just a lot of fun. Hey, Cindy, this is what happens. I always fall behind the chat. I'm
But
like,
yeah, with this eclipse, here's some little things that are easy to remember because the moon is going to be closer to the Earth. So on this eclipse, the difference is we're only going to see the corona. So
yes,
corona,
yeah,
obviously, that's
I know. But isn't it amazing that Corona comes up again in 2024? You know, that word, man, it just drives me nuts.
That's the outer atmosphere of the sun that you normally cannot see because
because it's too bright because of how bright it is.
The center, yeah. So that's going to be, I think that's going to be the part where it could end up being like really cool. Like there could be a lot of different colors of lights and things like that. I mean, it'll just kind of depend on the weather.
What do you think about it? Does it really damage your eyes? Because I've seen people say that they've looked at it and it didn't hurt their eyes. I don't know. I don't know the truth. I mean, I don't understand.
Yeah,
above my pay grade.
It's a debate within my house. Like he's like, it's junk science, and I'm like,
well, totality you can look up. Like totality you can look. But once it starts to crescent out, I think that's where it gets
the waxing and waning of the moon. Yeah, you're just because it's for me, like I can't. I know there's UV, different lights that can damage the eye, and you can have long-term effects that. If you continuously look at the sun, like duh.
It's kind of like tanning. I used to tan without the goggles, and you'd peek a little bit, like looking, that was a thing back in the day. It really was. You didn't care health. You didn't give a shit. You'd stand up for 8 minutes holding the rails, sweltering to death, whatever.
I know. I have I always show it to my kids because tanning beds were like super popular when I was.
They were.
If you have acne, which I really didn't have. So, but it was like, oh, mom.
The excuse. The excuse for like that was like that's the machines that had like the stronger face ones, it's going to clear my acne up. It's like clogging your pores,
Oh my gosh. But
Frank, we're going to talk about it, Frank.
Tanning bed, like skin damage on my arms.
Yeah.
And it's like the only way that I got that was because I'm laying my arms on a tanning bed. But you go now. We went to Mexico last summer and
Mexico's so much fun.
Go tanning. Escarret.
I love Mexico.
Escarret.
Where'd you go? Where'd you go in Mexico?
Hotel Escarret. It's in River de Maya area.
Is that near Acapulco?
I don't think so.
No.
It's just outside of Cancun. I think it was like
okay. So it's outside of Cancun. I knew it sounded familiar. I was going to say, is it Acapulco or Cancun? I knew it was one or the other.
Yeah, it's but the resort is what was just. I can't say enough good things. If you're taking a trip, Hotel Escarret, it is, and it's all inclusive. Like, and they actually mean it.
They all do.
It was like a scene straight out of MASH. We went to this extreme park. And I mean, these things were like straight out of MASH, and you're just,
That's
and
awesome.
They're like, they give you a few warnings and they just let you go.
That's so awesome. I'll tell you a crazy story about Cancun when I was 18 years old, senior year of high school. I got to be honest. I can't believe like our parents let us do this, like go away without any parent. Like, I don't care. We're 18 years old. Nobody at 18 should be in Cancun alone with just their friends. Okay. There was, I think 16 of us, boys and girls, right? It was absolutely insane. And the scariest part was leaving the club one night hammered, and some kid from Mexico tried to steal my belt. So like, I'm like, just like pushing him back, and it really got physical. And all of a sudden there's a Mexican military guy with his machine gun aimed at me. I'm like, whoa. Horrifying. I speak no Spanish. I'm like, trying to
Right.
steal my belt. I'm trying to like say, it was horrifying. This was like at the door to exit the club, and this guy had his friggin' machine gun up, and I couldn't even tell you what kind of gun it was because I was drunk and horrified. That's a scary experience, I'm like, listen, we're not going back to that place. I think it was La Boom was the place.
Yeah.
When I
We need
tell
to get
you
outside of
the clubs
resorts.
there, oh,
I
yeah,
enjoyed it for my children being able to be educated.
Yeah.
Like, it gave them a sense of gratitude of like, wow,
Yeah.
like, and there's things to be learned. But yeah, I see Ruckus.
But this is Cancun,
I
and
went there to the same resort as I did.
oh yeah,
and, like,
yeah.
It's
amazing. It is. It's amazing. But spring break, when you're a kid, you're going to meet other people you met out at the different hotels. So you basically walk. One night we took a bus. I don't even know where the hell we were going. Right. This was 5 a.m. We got on the bus. One of my friends threw up all over these poor guys going to work on the bus.
Oh my
Threw
God.
up. It was terrible. We gave them like I think $200 like for them. We felt terrible. We all put up. There was nine of us. We put up $25. Here you go. And then we landed at this other place and we're bungee jumping with a towel around our ankles. Come on, what do we do? I mean, this is how crazy as kids. I mean, crazy stuff. Crazy stuff.
Your kids are a lot younger than mine, but mine are 21 and 18. Almost 19. And
that's great ages. Listen, that's great ages and stuff, but that's where you got to worry also.
Oh, it never ends.
Yeah,
you
never
get
ends.
one phase of life, and just be like, there's still, but like
you have a daughter and a son, right? You have one and one.
I have two daughters. Yeah,
you have two daughters. Okay, so yeah,
she went on a cruise with her best friend and her best friend's dad last summer, and I'll say, oh, dude. Yeah. It was the worst. I had to let her go because I don't believe in like holding your kids back from experiences.
Yeah, I get it. Especially if there's a parent there, you feel a little bit more.
You have to be balanced about it. Like where I grew up,
because if you're not, they're going to rebel.
Yeah, my mom was so fearful of letting us do anything. She scared us out of living our lives, and so like I kind of like that was one thing I wanted to correct. So I let my kids do things, but all the same fears were still there of like, she was going to die. She was going to be kidnapped and sold into sex trafficking. I mean, I had a list of all of these things that would go wrong, but for her, she had a great time. Honduras was something that she was, and that's what I'm so proud of her about.
Honduras, I went on a cruise. Honduras was awesome.
Her bus ride from the ship to where they were going to do a dolphin thing, and but the bus ride for her was what really impacted her. Just they live
in concrete buildings.
Honduras, and just
I've seen it.
The lack of
it's basically like you're driving through the jungle, if you can think of it that way, and you're just driving these green, there's green everywhere, and then there's like a concrete shack without a door. That's their home, That's their home. It's terrible. It really is. And the good thing about it is the money that they get from the cruises coming there, but I don't think it rolls down to the people, Who's that?
Yeah. I was just saying hi to Miss Persevere.
No, that's what I said. So chat. So wait, let's stop. I just want to say this to Frank, because a lot of people want to just say, and listen, I'm with it, Richard Allen, lone wolf killer, it's highly likely. But my whole thing with, if you are a gun owner, right, your gun is loaded. I'm sorry. I don't care what the stress is, whatnot. You're chambering that gun to cause fear. You better find that bullet, So that's one. Did he, to cause fear, rack his gun, eject the round, right? That could be one. Two, whatever's going on, this hypothetical, don't yell at me in the chat, people. I know there's Richard Allen that he's fully guilty, and then you have the other side, he's not guilty, people in the middle, people with pitchforks. It's all over the place. I get it. What happens if, say, there's a second person, right? Because Nick McClellan kind of left that as an open door many times. So did Carter. Not the day to rejoice. Blah, blah, blah. Fine. Richard Allen hands his firearm to somebody else who doesn't know it's loaded, racks it, doesn't pay attention on the unspent round, just ejects out. Third, there's the three. third one, nobody's really talking about is malfunction. I've had it happen to me on the range when I was in the NYPD.
Yes.
Go pull the trigger, no boom.
I just had it
and,
happen
and there's
last time at the range.
Yeah, and there's different, because the gun was hot. You're shooting so many rounds in a day, but it could happen to a cold gun. It can just happen. It could be a shitty round where it just doesn't cycle. Sometimes it turns around in the barrel. There's many different phases of malfunctions. But did he have to clear it under stress and eject that round? That's the third one. That
And
one
we
got
don't
me
even
some
know.
heat. That one got me some heat a year ago talking about. I got a lot of shit for that.
Yeah.
Oh, I got a lot
I
of shit.
A lot of heat too, because I'm not.
Because, well, think about it, right? Because the girls were killed with a knife, right?
Right.
They were killed with it. We know that. We know that the blood loss. We know the knife, sharp object, blah, blah, blah. So nothing was ever said that a gun was fired, right? But that could be a possibility that there was a actual, a malfunction. Trigger pulled and no bang. Happens.
There, I don't know if you remember. Again, with this Delphi stuff, you got to come with. I don't like to talk about it.
You can talk about it here.
Sure.
You can talk about it here. Listen, it's a hypothetical.
Found a bullet.
Yes.
In almost kind of like a treasure box, an unspent.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if people do know this, but it is said that it is the same brand of round that was inside, that was found at the scene, and it was in a keepsake box in the house. Now, is it exactly the same round? It could be. I'm not going to name. I don't think the name's out there, so I'm not going to name the name of the the round manufacturer. But it was different than the box of. He also had a couple boxes of rounds also, but those were different than the solo round that was in this keepsake box.
But did the solo round match the one that was found?
Yes. Yes. It was the same. It was the same.
Because it's ballistics, but it's not.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
well, the whole thing with. I'm not big on the striation marks on the unspent round. I'm not, because there's so many factors. It's not the same as bang cycle through and out. It's not this. You're not going to get the exact same marker. So some people call it witch hunting. That's why I said. To me alone, that one round I found at the scene, unless it has DNA, fingerprints, something on it to tie to him personally, just being a 40 caliber of a very popular brand, I'll just put it that way.
Right.
Is not the end all. It's not.
No. Cases are built on the totality of them.
Exactly.
And the buildup of piece by piece by piece. They can give a jury the picture, and then obviously the defense is going to, and we can already see the defense's their strategies are. They're playing them out on the public. Yep. That's
why people are giving the defense shit for it. That is what happens in every trial in America. The defense is getting paid to get their client off or to get his charges lowered. That's just the way it is. It's just that this case is so publicized worldwide that I don't know the guys personally. They're probably decent people. That's their job. That's just their job.
And a lot of people are not willing to actually be upset with the judge, because there are guidelines for holding a disqualification hearing. And she did what she did, and and like I said, it's the only time she's allowed cameras. We have to be able to be objective in this.
It needs to be transparent.
You lose people when you go, just like in politics.
Yep.
You go far left and far right, you lose a lot of people that
you do.
And a lot of people are villainized for being in the middle. I'm upset. I'm upset at the state. I'm upset at law enforcement. They've done some things that, because I do know, I've been to a murder trial. I've attended in person. I've watch them online. I read Justia for fun,
Yeah. Well, when you think just about from, listen, I was big. I always defended the law enforcement in this case. I said, until something changes my mind by factual evidence of what they did wrong, I'm behind them, because that's the way they were not ready for a case like this. Carroll County Sheriff's Office, they don't have the experience. If this happened in NYPD with the mistakes, people would be fired from the top going down on who made the mistake, because shit rolls, uphill and downhill with the NYPD. Okay. How do you lose 70 days of footage? How do you not have a log of who the hell was interviewed? How is that possible?
How does your backup not have a backup?
That's what I'm saying. We recorded 2 different ways so that, God forbid, you have a secondary. Like, this is standard law enforcement protocol. This is not it. Whoever was in charge of those cameras would be fired. Instead, people are getting promoted. It's batshit crazy. It really is. You know?
I know, and I think that everyone wants. It's human nature to want to be right.
Yeah.
But there's this mix up between I would rather have wisdom and understanding over. But when you have intelligence without wisdom and understanding, you get a lot of people on a high horse that are extremely cruel.
True.
And they think they're superior. And so, then you have this other side that, these 2 polarizing sides that when anyone resorts to name calling from either side of like attacking, I just heard one attack Jinx and a Kristen behind the crime door. And I was so disgusted because it wasn't about it wasn't, they didn't go case with it. They went personal. What they look like.
Yeah, that's gross.
The hip. That was literally said by
someone. It's disgusting. That's disgusting.
And then I have
that's the problem though. You have
he's super smart. I could care less.
The person that said this?
Need to know about him. Yeah.
The person that said this is a smart
guy. He's a really good guy. He's super smart. I said, you can
listen, if you don't,
but that's my lens.
If you don't like somebody's content, don't watch it. If you find it boring or whatever else, because I've seen people make comments about me, I don't care. Don't watch me. If you don't want to be here, fine. No problem. It's all good. But to attack somebody personally is disgusting. Yeah. But that's this case. This case is, the people surrounding this case are evil. There are content creators that people shouldn't watch, but they do because they like controversy. People feed off that. People feed off, he attacks people. Come attack me. I'm the one you could attack because it doesn't bother me. It does. It's come on. Let's go. You know what I'm saying?
It's always kind of been a motivation, and that's why it's ironic to me when people leave me like
most of those guys have never been punched.
You want to do it even more.
You understand that most of those guys that are like nasty, they've never been punched in their face by another man. I've been thrown over a police car. Okay. Yeah. Like aerial over the police car. Okay. A man was, I don't know if you watched, he was slicing his wrist at the bus stop. And we're like, what the fuck? You're just thinking he's mental. Yeah. You're just thinking he's mental. Like, this guy needs help. What's going on? Well, it took 20 of us. It really did. It was bad.
Or like spies.
He was on. We have no idea what he was on. I ended up leaving because my handcuffs were on him. I finally got handcuffs on him, but I was relieved by, I believe it was Manhattan North homicide. He actually killed his live-in girlfriend and then got on the subway and ended up got on the L, the L, and landed in the Bronx and right in front of White Castle. But he really wasn't. But the whole thing was he kept going. So my handcuff was in his wrist. It was disgusting. So when the homicide detective handed, I was out of the academy like 2 months. It was crazy. It was wild. So the detective went to hand me my handcuffs, and I had gloves on. I just grabbed them and dropped them in the garbage. He's like, "Oh, you could clean them." I go, "Yeah, I'm gonna bring them home, boil them in a pot, then I'm throwing the pot out. I got more. Thank you. Let them stay in there." Yeah, threw them out. That was my. It sucks because those were my first handcuffs given to me by the NYPD, but I had extras, no problem. They think it was Smith and Wessons. They were Smith and Wessons. But what are you gonna do? That's life. Such is life. There's no cleaning them. The guy's his body was it was inside his body. No, thank you, Cindy. That is absolutely terrible. And thank God that justice was served. But that really is tragic. My great niece and her cousin just testified against their dad. I just don't. It happens all too often. I just don't understand how a family member can do that to their children. I just don't get it. It doesn't make sense. I mean, usually you hear a step parent, but a parent, like, come on.
And it's becoming epidemic. It's a
bad
crisis.
We also have these wackos that are trying to say that it's okay because it's just that's what they love. You saw this, right? There was a woman speaking about it like a couple months ago. Like, what?
Yeah, they're trying to
What?
normalize.
There's no normalizing that. There's no normalizing that. It is what it is.
And I'm friends with a lot of like older lesbians. I'll just
Yeah.
be honest.
Yeah, someone. Yeah.
They're the ground floor of the LGBTQ movement.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're appalled. They're disgusted because
I have a very close family member that's gay. All good.
Right.
And his fiance, they're amazing people. Good. Tell me.
But her point was, that movement was necessary for equality, and that's all we wanted was equality.
I agree.
Now we are now becoming and feel like we have a right to do so, to become the oppressors. Yeah. And oppress people because of not, saying the right pronoun, or not feeling the exact same way, or not being able to just accept everything, or have the right language. Ignorance is ignorance, and until it's just not knowing what you don't know, and like a world where we can't ask questions and learn is a very scary world. It's also an isolating world.
The world right now is bad. It's U.S. is bad.
That with the schools in particular, I do a lot of teachers. They're my clients, and they're having to go to attend like conferences over transitioning children and how to handle that with like CPS and things like that. And I live in a pretty small community, and it's like,
but CPS is always involved. I mean, it happens too often where you don't think it does, where CPS is involved.
It definitely does, and they're mandated reporters, and it's within an hour, And so, but it's like, I know about all of the kids that end up, their teacher sees something, they report them. They come back to school. Their teacher sees the same teacher sees something, they report it. That's all they can do. All they can do is report it and hope that the social worker does their job. And the kids are dying and they're being tortured, and you're seeing it. I mean, it's on a rise. There's podcasts that are only dedicated to that, and they'll never run out of content. News stories on a weekly basis of this type of abuse. And now I'm like, this sounds terrible, but it's not any less true just because it sounds terrible. Like I would be like, hey, why don't you come and tell me that you want a sex change? You feel that you're a boy or a girl, and your parents won't let you.
Yeah.
Action like that. And that's the part that I think people are really missing is the system is broken for protecting children in the home.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
But yet we're going to go balls out over a political divisive thing that's going to be used for an agenda, someone's agenda. And that's what's really, really sad. Plus, I'm also friends with some transgenders that are older, they're in the older category, and they're like, this is balls out nuts.
Yeah,
and they try to speak out on their platforms, and
they're shunned. Yeah, they're getting rejected. Of course.
Their content, you can look on them, and they'll have zero.
And they get canceled. They probably get canceled in a way.
500,000 followers.
Listen, my whole thing is
because they have an opinion.
Yeah, if somebody feels there's something else, fine, but children need to be protected, because I don't think a child can make that decision. I really don't. But once you hit adulthood, do whatever you want. That's what you feel. I just think if you see some of these people, I think they might be doing it for content. But I saw a woman who has 2 kids, and they're both supposedly trans, and some of that could be learned behavior in the house. These were little toddlers, growing, saying that. To me, it's just the world has gone batshit. It really has. It's everywhere. It's sad.
Yeah, and it's just my daughter has she has Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, and so that means we were at children's hospitals. She's for her whole life, and
what is that? I've never heard of that.
Helping her fill out a form for it's a connective tissue disorder. So kind of like Marfan's, a lot of people have heard of that.
Okay.
But I'm helping her fill out the form because now, she's an adult now. You got to do this stuff on your own. Some of her doctors, her pediatric doctors, have kept her, which is awesome.
That's awesome.
But,
so what, like 22? I think they could keep Max too, or they go beyond that.
Her cardiologist has said he's going to keep her for.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, so that was great, and then her neurologist as well, and a couple other ones. And so she's got to fill out the forms and stuff, and I'm helping her with it, and she's like fed up. So neither one of us like really read it all that well, and I'm filling it out at this point, and it's a whole page on were you born? This is a hospital. This is a children's hospital. What sex were you born as? What sex do you identify as? What pronouns do you prefer? And a little comment section of how you feel about that. And it's like, this is a children's hospital. Like,
yeah. That's
I know
absolutely crazy.
I like to study human genetics and epigenetics for fun. So, there are key differences, but if I put it in my shoes, if I imagine that if I were to wake up tomorrow and I thought like I was a woman, because I think that today, and I wake up tomorrow and I think I'm a woman, I get up and I do, but society around me is like, you're a man, and like now I have to conform to that because of a societal thing. But I can also say that I was the kid with a barber's haircut, wearing a dress because we were forced. I was a female, so I'm forced to wear dresses as a child based on our religion. But I had a boy haircut. I hated my toys. I hated them. I cut Barbie's hairs off, but I didn't want it all. I played with my brother's toys.
Barbie with a pixie cut. Do it. Absolutely.
A pixie cut.
Listen, whatever somebody feels, they feel. You can't take away somebody's feelings of what they feel. You just can't.
But that didn't define who I didn't. That's naturally, and like, so could you imagine if what I just explained to you without the religion, obviously, like, what if my parents were this like new woke whatever, and they were like, oh, she wants a short haircut and she likes to play with, Macho Man Randy Savage, and she shies away from Elizabeth, what if they were to be like, oh, she's meant to be a boy, and because I wanted to be a boy, like just in a little kid mind.
I get it.
I liked to play with my brother. Like, he was my best friend and still is this day. But that's not that would have been a horrible thing that I would have had to live with the rest of my life. And
it's true.
It's and that people are leaving out the medical repercussions of it,
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Scary.
They're the future, and we're failing them.
But even to think about it, when we were kids, right? When we were kids, girls playing 3 sports really didn't happen because the parents like, oh, you shouldn't be playing this. You're a girl. My daughter plays every sport under the sun. She's just an athlete. It's what she is. It's crazy what people want to take away from a child. It's nuts.
It's kind of astonishing, really, when you really think about our generation and the way that we were raised versus today.
Yeah, it's only one generation down, and it's astronomically different.
Different world.
Yeah, it's night and day. Night and day.
Double-edged sword to it.
It's like the eclipse. It's night and day in one shot.
4 minutes. Well, I think it's like 3, but yeah.
Yeah, I know 3. That's all you're getting. CD, what's your thoughts on DNA? They have some, and Killer must have left some. Defense says no on DNA linked to Allen. Surely Killer left DNA. I agree with you that from what we know, the DNA that is on the scene is of an unknown male, and it's not connected. But that could also be touch DNA from something else. We don't know the exact, we don't know enough on the DNA that was at the scene. But from what we do know, it wasn't Richard Allen's. And Steph, believe me, his cuffs were tight, and it's a little thing you do when the cuffs are on, they're tight. Just kind of lean it in a little bit towards the wrist. Ooh, it's like an arm bar without an arm bar. It's very, very great. It feels great to them. Oh, my cuffs are, oh, they're oh, okay. She was lying, right, buddy? Budward Bowen.
Going through, obviously I've did it with other cases and other people's court criminal history and stuff, of just starting from the beginning. And I think a lot of people on both sides are like, the people on this Richard Allen is innocent. Are you guys like? I feel like they're intentionally ignoring things like the let bail hearing.
Yeah,
that's true. A huge forking deal.
Yeah.
Why did they continue? That was on November 21st of 2022 when that was petitioned for.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, "Oh, there's no bond on murder in Indiana." True, but it's also in that same code which they listed, and the judges scheduled the hearing, and it was continued, and it was continued again. I think it was continued 3 times before it was changed by the defense into a suppression hearing, or a motion to suppress the fruits of the search warrant.
Yeah. Why? True.
Because what happens at a meaningful bond hearing, a let bail hearing, is the burden of proof is on the prosecutor to prove to the judge that, not within unreasonable doubt, but that more than likely, with the evidence that they have, that and it's not just the PCA is not the prosecutor has to present. They have to come with witnesses. They have to come with enough that a reasonable person would think that a reasonable jury would find this person guilty. And if that's not established, that person can get bond. What happens a lot when that's asked for is the prosecutor is not willing to, and I think that they make the right choice, is they will work out a plea because they don't want to try their case, because it's trying it in the public before it's tried with a jury. And you're letting your strategy be known to the defense. So they'll work out an agreement where you can conditional, your bail is going to be set. You still have to, come up with that 10% or whatever. And then maybe the condition is house arrest, different things like that. So all of these things, why did the defense not follow through with that motion to let bail?
I gotta be honest, I don't think they would have got it anyway. I don't think they would have, but I don't know why they didn't, but I don't think they would have gotten it anyway.
If they are so sure that Richard Allen is innocent, that would be one of the very first steps that you would take, because you are literally now that the burden of proof is on that prosecutor, law enforcement, back, what is given to the prosecutor, that they have to be the ones in open court that has to prove, and so people need to think about that they didn't do that with Richard Allen and why. And then the scariest thing of all is, someone that is guilty getting not being held accountable because of technicalities and incompetence. That's the most infuriating thing about our system.
Well, I just think that, you have channels that I guess that came up within the last year that are just all, he's innocent and that's all they do, You never know people's, true, thing, what they're really doing, clicks and likes. It's out here. It's, more expensive gun that's better made. I bet there's something there. 6 Sauer is not as common as you, outside the grid. 6 Sauer is, one of the firearms that you can carry on duty as a New York City police officer.
And it's also
it's not terrible.
I heard someone mention a Taurus, a 6 Sauer. I carry a Glock, but I've had a Smith and Wesson.
I got Smith and Wesson. I have Glocks.
People that are gun owners and gun, they you find which one that you end up liking the best, and you'll have these diehard 6 Sauers, diehard, Taurus, diehard. Yeah. And I found that while I enjoy carrying my Glock because of the size of my body in proportion to it, I prefer to shoot with a SIG You know,
Yeah.
I feel like
Yeah, yeah.
at the range.
No, you're
when
right.
I'm
You're right.
carrying a
Because
gun,
yeah,
I
the Glock you can conceal better also than a full than a full model
that's
SIG.
why I like it.
Definitely.
It's smaller. It doesn't make me uncomfortable when I wear it. Like I'm not
Yeah.
like, you know, but it's also still a 9. So I got a 380 when I very first started carrying, and the bullets are expensive, you know, because I'm not if I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do it responsibly. And I think there are laws in place that they should be. But yeah, it was great, but to buy like the rounds to practice are so much more expensive on a 380. Like,
Look how
so that's
stupid
why
this
when I
comment.
found
I got to stop you. Look how stupid this comment is. CD stand for cocaine drip. Okay. Haven't done a drug in 24 years, and the last drug I did was marijuana in 2000, a year before I got hired.
you didn't accidentally do coke when you were younger, like I did.
Nah. Oh, do you remember that? Yeah, I remember that. Let's
You didn't
ban this
accidentally smoke
idiot.
crack.
Did I get rid of him? Did I ban him? Hopefully I banned him. What an idiot. What a stupid thing to say. Yeah, cocaine. I have ADHD, so you know, buddy.
Yeah.
Drug free here, my man. Yes, Sydney started off with a bang in my career with 9/11 as a rookie, pulled out of the academy. That was a real wake up call. That's what that was.
Do you think this trial is going to happen?
You know, I don't know. You know, I really think that like people are saying the plea deal is never going to happen. Never say never. You know, it could happen as we get very close to the trial. You know, like anything else. But you know, if he doesn't take a plea, it's going to happen.
I have an opinion on a plea that I'm not comfortable sharing it
No, it's
out
okay.
loud. It's just irresponsible of me. I feel it's irresponsible of me to say that, but you know, I don't see, as the way things stand now, if you go by the court documents,
Yeah,
they would be, because it just seems like they're laying out, and now I feel like honestly both sides are, of like an appellate, like.
Oh no, I agree with you. Listen, it does feel that a conviction it's going to be appealed. That you know you're seeing as a judge you can't be biased, and that's what's being shown. It just is. You know,
No.
I don't know why I don't know why the Supreme Court let her stay on. I think it would have been best to start anew. You know, and it's not hurting her individually. It's just. There was a lot there that I think, you know.
Yeah. Not holding, you know, the big, I could like lean in fully and like defend the state, the judge, and law enforcement, even after the Franks hearing. And I do believe that constitutionally, the defense, what happened with the defense, that's still true. However, like I think that if you read the ABA, you read the public defender, you know, like the court, like things like that, what they did was grounds for a disqualification. It could have been grounds.
It could have been. Yeah, it could have been.
The hearing was held properly.
Yeah.
That didn't happen. And that is her fault.
Well, I mean, she wanted to strike down on them herself, and that doesn't work.
Nice. But I think
she wanted to be nice, but she brought them in the office and basically said, "You're gonna withdraw."
Well, cameras were there at the first and only, and if she have allowed cameras I wouldn't have such a criticism about why she allowed cameras then.
Yeah.
If she had allowed cameras at other hearings, but she hasn't. So that, to me, you have to look at that and say like, And then the hand holding of McClelland is quite evident, you know, at this point.
Yeah, no, it's true.
But there's also the defense is, you know, they're puppet masters with puppets that have puppets. That's the way I view it. That's the way I view the defense's strategy of playing this out in the court of public opinion. Whether that
Mhm.
affects a jury, like that, they're seeing what they can get people to get on board with, and obviously by a fund that's grown. I think they changed it to now it's 45,000 because they met their fundraising amount.
Yeah, and they raised it. Then they raised it. They
From
raised it.
25,000 to 45,000.
Yeah.
So that in and of itself is showing the ability that they have to sway the public and by using, the puppet masters using their puppets, and then the puppets using their puppets. And it's sad to kind of watch, because a lot of those people are the ones that tout themselves as the intellectuals. We're professionals, we're this, we're that. And anyone that has to say that out loud, here's your sign. You're probably not all that you think you are, because intelligence is whether it's effective or not. And if you isolate people by putting yourself above them and criticizing the way that they look, or the things that I heard that man say about Kristen behind the crime door and Jean.
Did he say it? Did he say it like on his channel, like on live or something? Wow.
It was absolutely disgusting.
That is disgusting. It's just that's not where, you don't agree with somebody. Why are you attacking with the way somebody looks? What does that have to do with you're disagreeing with something totally different than looks? It's just, why are we going there? That's the problem with this case, and it's the problem with a lot of channels that are out there. When you think about the last hearing, what happened outside, inside the building and then outside is ridiculous. The guy was there to testify, and I understand whoever the other guy was making comments about his wife. Totally get it. Time and place. That's it. 3 words: time and place. Time and place. And
Yeah. And then to turn it into like, oh, it's this conspiracy of like that they were trying.
Yeah, they didn't want him to testify. Yeah.
If you truly felt that way, then you should have known.
You should have sat there and shut your mouth.
So tells me a lot about you as a person.
Exactly, 100%. Exactly.
Be able to be triggered by someone that easily, and then you have other people like just like lynch him. Like I can't. It is just a wild west, and there's just not a lot of like sanity really going on. It's like it's turned into like, I don't know if you've ever dipped your toe into like the manosphere or like this, like that kind of like different genres of YouTube, but Delphi's like turned into the Delphi sphere. Like it's like
it has
system of
anger, nastiness, insanity. It's out there what's going on. It is. And I saw somebody, I timed them out. I tried to ban them, but I got to go back and see how I could do that now that I timed them out. But I got it. They're banned. Okay. Yeah, they're banned. It did work. They were talking about you in a not so nice way. Maybe somebody else banned. Maybe that's why I couldn't ban them. Yeah, about your coverage of somebody else. Yeah, Debbie and 4 pit bulls across America. I got no time for it. Somebody wants to come here and attack Cold Truth. Not going to happen. You can attack me. I really don't care. Doesn't matter to me. You're not going to hurt my feelings.
Let it stand. Let people's comments stand. They don't bother me. I'm motivated by them. Really.
Yeah. Yeah, they were just talking about how crazy you are because of your coverage of another channel. But time for it.
Yeah, and that's. Everyone has a right. One day, they'll know that I wasn't so crazy, and I stand on that. One day, and I think it's kind of clear. And then in just what is being said and written as of like last week, this is a person that is unsafe. It's an unsafe person, and then they're predators, and they're preying on real life people and online people, and it's. My cool. Friend was killed by her husband, and that's a huge motivation for why I do what I do. And I really don't care. Adversity, I expected it. I make everything I do may seem kind of, it's like a controlled bipolar, I guess. Like I calculated,
Yeah, yeah.
like,
No, I hear you.
and when I save my forks, I say
Yeah,
that for a reason. Like I know how to do that. I don't give them away willy nilly, and so I've saved them for something that I deem to be an important. I mean, God, what kind of how awesome of an opportunity is it to have preemptive intervention, and maybe someone sees what I've done.
hey, Kristen.
They take a step to like Google a name, and then they're like, oh wow, there's like all this, I'm gonna check this out for a second, and then they decide I'm not gonna date that guy.
Yeah,
That's a potential life saved, or like, or being damaged emotionally, physically, mentally from someone like that has a history of that type of behavior. Like that's a huge win. So adversary again, because I cover him, or that just makes me want to do it all the more.
yeah. No, listen. You feel strongly about something. I know you are friends with that person's ex and stuff. You know a lot that other people don't. Scary
I do know
stuff.
a lot.
I've seen it happen way too many times on cases where a girl will
Yeah.
stay a little bit too long and it gets really bad.
And people throw out the window of like a profile of like, past behavior predicts future behavior. And it's the same what the prosecutor does without aggravating circumstances of like, oh, they finally killed someone. Well, let's look back and like, oh, like we've got 4 different counts of domestic battery, criminal confinement. The list goes on. That
Yeah,
is significant
it is.
into,
It is.
and people in this community, you expect to kind of know that type of thing, and I really don't think they do. I don't think it's a wide known thing, but it also allows me to spread awareness about a lot of different topics because of that particular coverage. So
It's crazy. There wasn't 70 individuals, no excuse to advance. Well, Ruckus, no matter what, I mean, all I'm saying is that you got to have two, you got to have two ways to record, and you got to have a backup. To not, from what it was said, there was no log of who was interviewed. Like they listen, you and I both know it's not how a case should go. It's just not, and heads should roll. It's just the way it is.
Yep.
It doesn't seem like heads rolled.
If I address possibly Kristen, I'm not sure. There was a situation on my channel, but I see Miss Persevere's comment, and I'm gonna there are people on both sides that I two wrongs do not make a right. Doxing someone and putting out their personal information does not make you a higher, you're not a better, you're no better. You've now leveled yourself down to whomever level is that you're coming at them. But I guess there was a situation where I went back and saw it where Kristen there was a chat comment made about another creator that's a woman, and it was it's like she was like, what was it? It was kind of like, oh, is that like it was that, I don't care if you're like, if you've done like, I don't know if you say those words on your channel.
Which ones?
Like an adult entertainment star or so, like that was that was the, and she was like, oh, were they really? Like she just was like an innocent like response in a moment, and then
and that's when the attack came.
Greeno ran with that and then turned it into this whole thing that now Kristen, I'm now that I'm looking back on it, but I had called out what I saw. When I see something, I'll say something, but I don't go around like looking for everything. But now I have, and like them doing what they do to her. That was what Greeno did. Yeah, like him doing the whole video of like looking like he was trying to find that girl in her site, and that was sick. And and then she got kind of drug into that whole thing. And like I don't
watch any of it. I don't even look, because to me it's just it's insanity. There's too many channels out there that's just insane. And Kristen, I'm always behind on the chat, so I'm not even. I just skipped ahead to catch up. I don't even know what's going on in the chat because we're busy talking. So I'm not. Did I miss?
And I mean, as far as Delphi,
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I'm missing. I don't know what I'm missing. We're talking, so I wasn't paying attention to the chat. Talking about this, 70 Days of Education sounds more spectacular than makes all you. Yeah, I mean, listen, I get it. Just losing any interviews and the way it was put out that they didn't even have a log. I mean, it just doesn't make sense. It really doesn't. It's just law enforcement made mistakes on this case from the beginning to now. I was always backing them, and when just things keep coming, that they made a lot of mistakes. Tech Death said, "Cold Truth is cute." Very nice. Tech Death, how are you, man? Hope you're still rocking out with your music. But yeah, it's just it's sad. It's sad that anybody's attacking another creator. But that's just where we are. It's just
like there's a way to do it. I mean, like I don't agree with a lot of people that are in these like this weird left and right of like I don't agree with either side.
People put a stake over here and others have a stake over here, and there's just no in between. It's just this is what I feel, this is what I know. You don't know this, blah blah. You're not following. Well, it's out there. It is. It's out there.
We can't have a difference of opinion and remain friends. Like that is so bizarre to me. Like that would be something that would divide like an actual friendship. Like I don't know. But it's a wild world out there right now, and you got to stand up you got to do what you want. But
yeah, we're just in
very sad to see the personal attacks on looks from both sides. Both sides have been doing it, and it's not okay.
It's gross. It's just gross. It's not necessary. Really, you don't agree with somebody's channel, don't watch them. Don't watch them. The crazy channels, why are you watching them? I mean, really, you want to just hear negativity and just nonsense? That's up to you. I just don't get it. I don't get it. And when you see the channels grow, it's really a head shaker. It is. Right. But that's just the way it is. That's where we're at today. I thought for a second
there, like just for like a brief week, I thought like maybe I can get some people together and like maybe we can start a third sphere in this like far left, far right, and just like be middle and thinking that I could maybe bridge some gaps between the two. For Richard Allen is innocent, Richard Allen is guilty. I don't think I'm gonna mess with that. It's just not a.
I don't even know what some of these comments mean. If Ruckus and CD were on a panel together, I wouldn't know who's talking. What does that even mean? What are you people saying today? Very strange. Very strange. It just doesn't even make sense.
Accent.
Oh, okay. I mean, it could be. That could be it. I just, with some of the comments today, I don't know what's going on in the chat. Our chat here is usually great. There's usually never problems. So, the stakes came out today. Bring them. I don't know. I don't even hear myself like with my accent.
I know, Kristen. I figured you were really upset by that. I think that was so unfair for her to do to people at that walk, to subject them to accidentally ending up on Greeno's channel when she knows full well
that she
was about to do that to them. That was disturbing to watch her do that.
As I'm saying, I don't watch because it's just out there.
I get sent.
Why would Marv do that to just why?
I don't know why she's doing what she's doing, but I am not a fan. I will never be a fan just because this.
I just understand. Like you don't agree with somebody, but yet you're walking over and here she is. Like that's out there. That's really
to know that like while Kristen might not be as like bold or like as out there as I am of like talking about him. She's definitely not one that has ever supported him. So Marv being his like I don't know, like is like pimping him on to people unbeknownst to them is just like such a rotten thing. And I could tell at Kristen's expression as the moment she realized, oh, I'm actually talking to
Well,
Greeno.
he's gonna get another view today
And
because
then
now
she,
later I'm gonna have to go watch and see because that's just batshit crazy to do to somebody.
yeah, and you can see
Here
the
she
moment that
is.
she's like, oh, I see what you did there. And then, you know, now she's faced with that decision of what do I do? Do I like and that's exactly why I didn't go to one of the like my Hoosier Cold Cases and Chaotic Beauty and I were all planning on going to the like one of the bike events for Abby and Libby and they went and I decided I'll meet you at the Amaya event because I know myself well enough to know that if Greeno stuck a camera in my face, I would not react well at all. And that is not that drama is not for the family and like for that event and that to be any type of attention being taken off of why people are there. So I didn't go. You know, I'm not going to go.
I thought doesn't he usually go to those? Why didn't he go?
Huh?
Doesn't he usually go to those personally? He wasn't there.
Oh, he's on the run right now. Currently, he's in the wind. Who knows? The same cycle over again. It's like the Florida, but I think now he's somewhere up near Canada. Who knows?
Well, interesting. CJK, Sports Stuff. Did you know Seth was on Crime and Shame last night? I don't think it was the last night's one. It was yesterday's live. Seth Rogers was on Sonny's channel. He's the biological dad of Sebastian Rogers, who's missing in Tennessee, 15-year-old. And I watched part of it this morning. Terrible. It's wacky. It's another wacky one. Another wacky one that, it's got a lot of twists and turns going on. I feel very bad for that dad. He's broken right now. Broken. It's been a month and you know, nothing's really turning over.
I've never heard anyone that has actually walked in their shoes in the club no one wants to be in. The club of people with missing loved ones and children is the worst club you can be a part of. Just that not knowing, you know.
Yeah, true.
Trying to be hopeful, but that and I know this because I've talked to multiple victims' mothers and fathers, you know, whether on here or in private, and they always will say, well, at least I know where my daughter is now, you know, and they're always like grateful for that. And then covering missing children is just something I know personally I have to be very careful with. Because of the outcomes are usually not great, you know, and you can kind of tell. You can kind of tell pretty quickly.
Yeah, as things unfold, things start looking. Well, the whole thing with the Sebastian Rogers is that there's a possibility that he's being housed somewhere. That's
happened. There was a case
that is, you know, that's a possibility.
I have her before I got on any of this. I mean, I was like literally like true crime community, like true crime genre before it even existed. I'm talking the 80s. If I was good in a week, I was just telling the captain about this. I was like, if I was good, I got to go to the library one day a week. And as soon as my mom would leave, like I beeline for, you know, the nonfiction psychological understanding the human mind and psyche and why people do what they do and true crime and like all of those types of books. So it's like, I think that leads to maybe me being a little bit more like upset by the fact of like what it's turning into, you know, like,
well, I also think that, you know, people know that the trial is coming. So in their minds, like the end could be near and they're just pumping out shit and, you know, just to, you know, create controversy. It's just, you know, I guess people learn that if you're kind of shitty to people watch, you know, it gets engagement and it's kind of freaking crazy. you know?
Yeah. And I get more upset when I feel super passionate about what I do with that particular creator, and I've already explained why. Those videos will get a significantly a larger amount of views and
Yeah.
participation and
Yeah.
even super chats
Yeah.
versus
It's crazy when you think
when I
about it.
cover cases that actually do need some awareness. They need people to smaller channels to get bigger channels to get major media to cover them, because that's just a reality of when you have pressure from the media, well, things start happening.
It's crazy. It's crazy when you
But
think about it. It's just,
it's upsetting to me, but for the opposite reason. And I'll have put in a shit ton of work on like the research and stuff that I do, and for like a good cause for families that really do need help. And blah, but I'm
yeah,
not willing to change either. So it's like I'm not willing to
you
compromise. That's
shouldn't.
why I don't follow. I'm not going to cover a case that you can type in what's it, Sebastian
Sebastian
Rogers, is
Rogers.
that it?
Yeah. Yeah.
You can type in
And
Sebastian Rogers.
both sides, the mom and the stepfather and the biological dad have been on so many channels since it happened. They're on every day on a different channel, you know,
Yeah,
which is good. Listen, it's good to keep his name out there and keep his face out there. There's nothing wrong with that.
absolutely.
You know, there's nothing wrong with that.
Absolutely.
I mean,
And
it's
that's
just.
what the patties are doing, and they are being just completely abused by
Well, they've been attacked from
because
the
of it.
beginning. You know, they've been attacked. I mean, the grand Mike
Yeah,
Patty was
and
blamed. He
cycle of
was
new
accused that he
YouTubers.
used a canoe. Remember, he
Yeah,
used the
each cycle of
canoe.
the YouTubers that comes in, they think that they are entitled. They have a right to
Yep.
question them, because that's how investigations work. That's 101. You start
Yep.
from the victims and you work your way out.
Always.
However, I am
Always.
never going to be someone that is proud of myself for getting it right because I
Yeah.
thought a family member did it.
Yeah. That's true. I mean,
Yeah. I don't care what case it is. Like, there's some that are blatantly obvious of like, yeah, like the Skylee Carmichael. I was clear real early on that something was very wrong with Amanda Carmichael.
yeah.
But which was her stepmother,
Hey,
which was the
Jill.
only mother she knew.
Yeah. It's real. It's
But
real when you just think, when you step back and look at what's going on and
hey, Jill.
the amount of channels that are out there to attack people. The problem is, whoever's listening here, you guys become viewers and subscribers, so they feed off that. It's ego. It's
Yeah.
it hits their brain like a drug, and it just, who am I going to attack today? And they love it. They just love attacking
And
people.
then like, just imagine if everyone decided this as a collective,
Yeah.
1 week on YouTube, that they turn something on and it becomes these things that we're talking about, and they immediately close it down instead of watching it or interacting or paying for a membership. And everybody did that as a collective, all out in a matter of 1 week. I guarantee you those same creators, they're going to pivot and they're going to adjust really quick, because the bottom line for them is the dollar, is the infamy,
Yeah.
is
That's true.
it's the money. And it's
That's
very
true.
easy to spot them. It's so
Yeah.
easy to spot them.
I mean, they can't. Nobody can say I'm here for money. I left for 10 months. I did. I was like, you know what? I got to take a step back. You know, I'm like, I need to
Yeah.
step back and go from there. But that's just That's just a sad reality that you're always going to find people who are doing things for the wrong reason. It's just the way of the world. Just the way it goes. And the problem is the viewers. If you feed them, they're going to keep on going. That's
Have you
just the
seen
way
Good
it
Will
is.
Hunting,
Yeah,
the movie?
I love that movie. Great movie.
So it's one of my all-time favorites, but it's also like a movie that for me, there's so much depth to it because of the different scenes in it. Like the one scene obviously the ending of like, it's not your fault. And that like the bigger picture, putting your, like, he knew this, what, I can't think of his name in the Robin Williams knew in this scene that he needed to make Will uncomfortable.
Yeah.
In order to get true.
Him to come out, to open. Yeah, to open up.
Yeah, to break down that wall. And he kept saying, that's not your fault. It's not your fault. And then, and the other scene in that movie is when Will is just starting to go to therapy. He sees the picture of the, you know, the paint by the boat, and he attacks his wife. And Robin Williams reacts to it, you know, and in a forceful way. And it's like, I got your, he's playing a game, and then I see it unplaying so much in this sphere of YouTube, like to be able to spot those moments of like where true change can come from putting yourself in an uncomfortable situation, and watching out for the people that are only, like he said that to him, as you can see the sparkle in his eyes as soon as he said, oh, what, did your wife leave you? Did your wife, you know, and like and Robin Williams is like, don't talk about my, like, he knew he got him. He knew that he had him on an emotional response from him. And he's like, I'm right. You know, and then he ended up like grabbing him by the throat. If you remember that scene.
Yeah, no, let me just answer this. Simon, you can tell a good creator about how easy it is to contact them with a lead, then how well they use the info. Sleuth, for instance, has no way to send them tips. He does too. He has an email. Sleuth, you could email, so that doesn't really make sense.
Yeah, he does.
You could email him.
And he'll ask for him.
If you need his email, email me and I'll give it to you. Or somebody, Jill, I think you have Sleuth's email. You could put it down there if he needs it. How well do you think investigators will hold up testifying on the stand with all the hours they have to face? How do they maintain credibility? Well, it's not really about credibility. It's they're gonna get beaten up. You know, each mistake that was made is gonna get brought up. Well, I wouldn't even say it's their integrity. It's like mistakes were made. You know, it's not like if something was done purposely, totally different story. Planting evidence, stuff like that, that's different. Errors were made, and it doesn't look like there was the right correction from up above. That's what I see from the outside in. You know, but that's just the way it is. It's. Yeah, I also think that the girls that were on the trail that day are gonna have a hard time on cross-examination, and that it's tough, but that's just the way trials go. You know, they're gonna get exploited for every word.
The loose lips of just like, oh, wanting to have look like you have a source, or like, what was it that Julie Melvin did it with the medical examiner. She works at the same hospital, and she started saying all these stuff about the medical examiner, and like saying that she had information straight with him. And I was like, and people were not like up. They were like, oh, like, tell us more. And I'm like, F you. Like, just the appearance of unprofessionalism from a medical examiner on a case of this high publicity is it can affect things. You know, that's something that they're gonna, you know, like I don't think now, like I don't think it would play out, but those are the kind of things where it's like so easy for people to believe. They'd rather believe lies anymore than the truth. And like that you can say like that right there said about Sleuth, like you, me, and most of the chat, that's what I'm doing. Absolutely not true. That's not true about Sleuth, but that will be with people that have an agenda. They're like, oh yeah, Sleuth is he's bad because he doesn't respond to every email he gets, or you know, something like that. It's like that's
well, no, he didn't. I guess he didn't look, or maybe didn't know how to find it. I mean, that could happen. It's sleuthintuition@gmail.com. Oh, I missed the L, but there it is. Just make sure you fix the L. sleuthintuition@gmail.com. And then
you know, like I think that people aren't willing to take their own inventory of like, I get sent a lot of stuff that is, you know, it's just it's it's not anything that is going to, it may seem like it, but like like this whole thing of like, well, they want the public's help with finding the guy on the bridge. Yeah, not
Yeah.
really. No, they don't. They want the right person to see that. They want the public's help of disseminating the flyer just so the right person can watch the video, listen to his voice. The person that knows him that's the person in the public that they want. Like us analyzing the video and like, yeah, I've done it too, but like that's not gonna like it's not there just so many people are take that way too far. Like, well, they asked for our help, and how dare they like not give us more information? Like, yeah, it's like this entitlement weird world we live in now.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean the world has gotten absolutely batshit crazy. It's just the way it
Hell in a
is. You know?
handbasket.
It's just the way of the world. Everything's just nuts. This case has, I mean, this case went off the rails a long time ago, but you know, it's, you got to reel people in. It's like, listen, trial's coming. Let's hope the judge does the right thing. And if she doesn't want to give media access to it, they have it on a channel of theirs. Oh, some way to put out it should be live. There's no reason it shouldn't be live. The amount of eyes that are on this case, there is no reason to not have this live. There's no reason. You know, I just don't understand why she wouldn't put it out there for everybody to see. There's no reason for it, but she's going to make whatever decision she wants.
The pandemic, you know, that was one of the things that each like county they were given a certain amount of money for cameras to be installed to hold remote hearings, and that's where we're getting this even inmates having digital devices to be able to do virtual visits and then, like, that's where all of this is stemming from. And so it's like there is a camera in Carroll County that was installed, like, and so it's not like there's not.
Oh, it's there. They have the technology. It's not that they don't have the technology. So for me, it's
media that like I think that they, you know, they like that, like to be able, like, what's that there's a judge in another case where he had it during it, like, you can't watch them, they are gone immediately as soon as that day of the trial. It's like Judge something, and it's like Judge Rogers or whatever, and then like the one camera, the audio, and everybody in the media can use that for that one day, and you can watch that like if you were to attend. But as soon as that day's over, that is now gone, you know. And like, why is that a problem in a case like this? Like, I think transparency would go a long way with this case in particular, and transparency of being able to remote watch this murder trial. That's 3.5 weeks, mind you. I can't possibly afford to take that many days off to attend a trial. And trials, you really have to go every day. Every day.
If there's not a way, listen, when you had the guy who ran over all the people in Wisconsin, it was on there. The guy represented himself. I watched that whole thing. That was pure insanity. How that man acted out every single day. She was amazing because she knew, do it right so there isn't an appeal. She gave that guy so many chances. Insanity. But at the end of the day, I mean, that's put it out there for everybody to see. There's no reason not to. There's no reason not to.
I agree. And it's just like such a weird thing as well of like, she is one of the ones that was like the first in Indiana, because Indiana's kind of far behind on that, especially in more of the rural like counties other than Marion. This is something that she is advocate, like a part of. So it's like,
it's true. CJK, 90% of, I mean, any male in around Delphi was pretty much tipped in. I mean, I don't know if he was or not, but they were tipping in everybody. I mean, that's just the way it was, because it was so pixelated that, anybody that kind of fit a little bit was tipped in. And then you had the sketches. People were tipping off the sketches, 2 different sketches. It's just, and the 2 sketches are crazy to me. I know people say that it's blended together. Oh, they suck. They do. They suck. I mean, do you remember like the 80s? They have gotten better, but like the 80s sketches looked like a comic person. It looked like a comic book. They were so out there. Look at this man. The hair was like a couple string. It was just, yes, they've gotten better, but again, they're not a photo. Libby did take video. Again, you got a wacko out there. Clutch, that guy Clutch. Thank God he removed all his videos. But that man taking away the absolute bravery of Libby, knowing something was going wrong, for her to take her phone and video, and to take that away by saying it's a deep fake. You're a disgusting human being. And I question if he really ever was a law enforcement. When I see former law enforcement, to me, it bothers me because, did you get fired? Did you resign? When you retired, I feel it's a totally different scenario. When I see former, kind of like, what happened? That you're,
right.
You're not. You know what I'm saying? So it's just
over puffing what their career. I think Koppendorfer is the worst one about that. Like that lady. Hot,
and what really bothered me about her was retired FBI. Even the day that Richard Allen was arrested, she's still saying it was Ron Logan. The problem with that is her voice means something because she was retired FBI, and their main suspect was Ron Logan. From Ron Logan's search warrant was written by the female FBI agent. My problem with that is, was she personally friends with the I think it was, I have her name. I think it was Nicole, Agent Nicole something. Whatever it is, whoever wrote Ron Logan's search warrant, was she friends with her? Did they talk about the case? If she's ever had a conversation with somebody that worked the case, she shouldn't be speaking. She shouldn't be speaking about it because it is so weighted one way, and it's not okay. It's just not. No, it just looks bad. But, she's making a career for herself. And sorry, but News Nation isn't any better. I like Brian Enton, but what's her name on at night? Ashley Bedfield. She's all about views. I'm sorry, but that's what she is. Her interviews are weighted one way. She pretty much destroyed. She pretty much destroyed Kernodle, the mom, when she had her on about her addiction and everything else. She destroyed that woman. She thinks she helped the case. She destroyed. So it's like, I know people watch her and like she's in the controversy. She's the one that had her hand in that CW Delphi thing. That was definitely her. She probably has a production company. That was probably her. She's
so embarrassing.
I didn't even watch it, but I just heard. It's just the wackiness continues. It's just, what are we doing? What are we doing?
I don't know.
Listen, Randy's done an amazing thing with the walks.
Yet they've only done one series, and it was the series on Idaho 4 and like the this kind of
well, that's what I'm saying. It's that she definitely has her hand in that. She definitely does. That's probably her production company and everything else. Oh God.
I went to CrimeCon, and of course I call them talking heads. Like that's their talking heads. It's like a newscaster, like the Nancy. Like I know she was a lawyer or something, but I could give 2 shits less. Like but they're all had the biggest booths, and Vinny and I literally don't even know all their names.
Well, listen, I lost respect for Vinny too when he brought on the guy. I'm not even gonna say his name. The one who wrote the book that. And the best is, as he's publishing his book, Richard Allen got arrested. So the Ron Logan thing goes out the window, and then the private investigator attached to him. What are we doing? When people seem to be in it for the wrong reasons, I'm sorry. I just don't agree. I don't agree with it, but that's just the way of the world. The guy wrote a book about Ron Logan being the killer. And he released it at the worst time because he released it right when Richard Allen was getting arrested. So, would have taken him a couple months probably to write this trash, but still. I actually argued with him on Reddit one time because he was posting stuff and I was deleting his comments. I'm like, stop talking, because Ron Logan's. You think Ron Logan's the guy? You wrote a book. Stop stop trying to get publicity for your book here, buddy. Bye.
Yeah.
But it's the way it is.
Like, so because they have the money and they're like, major media, their booths at CrimeCon are just huge, fancy, and like.
Well, I mean, Nancy Grace made it. She made herself big from Casey Anthony.
Mm-hmm.
That's where she made it big.
And I haven't liked her since. I don't like her.
Well,
I mean, sometimes I agree with.
The only good part of her. The only good part of her is that she gets interviews, and I got to be honest, she interviewed Sebastian Rogers' mom and stepdad, and I got to be honest, she did a pretty good job of going down the line of like an interrogation softly, not perfect, but she did a pretty good job. I mean, that's good to have as they seem pretty comfortable answering, except for one time where I believe it's the wife leans back and, like, as she's leaning back, she bumps the stepdad with her body, like with her arm. And I'm like, that's to me, that was kind of like, watch what you're going to say here. It was very interesting because they were sitting next to each other. It was interesting. But at the end of the day, listen, media, everything else, they are all for the views. That's how they make their money. I get it. But when you exploit a woman who is an addict and bring her on where she looks messed up, talking about her arrest, it was crazy. I'm like, wow, this is crazy. This is what we're doing, huh? This woman's daughter was brutally murdered, but let's bring her on, on the 8 o'clock hour and just destroy her. Terrible. It's terrible.
Yeah, and that's why, again, that's why I call them talking heads. But it was crazy to me because Barbara Ray Venters was there. The starts right there, like with the Golden State Killer. She's a genealogist. Her book is phenomenal.
Really?
And highly intelligent. Colleen Fitzpatrick. Like, those are my heroes because they are literally the ones that are the pioneers of what we see today. And she's sitting there at a table at the it wasn't Jed. I love the Jed Mash booth, but it's a family tree maybe booth. Okay. And it's scarcely being visited. It's scarcely got anything on it. But she's there. Like, as soon as I saw her, I was just like, I literally got, I don't even know what I said to her. I was like, it's you. Well, that's what I said. I said, it's you.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And then I was like, because it was like, that is like, she's the person that's someone I look up to. That's someone that I want to read all of their books. That's someone that I want to, like, they're the true heroes of real crime, of solve, the breaking things. And it tells you something about, like, of course it's the talking heads are interesting. They can make you feel something or whatever, but what do they really know?
Anna, so let's go over what you're saying here. I get it. He confessed to his wife multiple times and to his mom and to prison employees, medical personnel. Accurate, maybe or not. I want to see what was said.
I do too. If I go to any day, I want to go to that day because I know the importance of, and not because it's like, because your own words are that's a very good piece of evidence.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
I also,
what was his mental status at the time?
Because
there's a lot to it.
False confessions and the read technique and different techniques that have been used, and the different techniques that have generated false confessions. I know that, like, it's not depending on what these are. They can be, that could be, but we have to remember that the state did not have that as a key piece of their case before he was indicted. So they better have a strong case.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's true. Like, that's the whole thing, is that like anything else, I mean, this could fall apart at trial. It could, it's like anything else. I'm very interested to see this trial. I hope it's live because it's going to be very interesting the way it plays out. We should all stop saying I heard, only talk about what you give as source. Otherwise, it's not info for the public and such a leak, right? I mean, it depends. I mean, it could just be rumor, big fish, you know? Somebody could just be talking about a rumor. I mean, there's been very many rumors. There's been a lot of rumors from the beginning that have come true. So, I mean, but take it, as a rumor.
Deduction, just like reasonable deduction can, it says it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that this guy's probably, I think, and I'm trying to, in plain sight. I made this, didn't even really know how to make like thumbnails or anything like that. I'd made it on Pixlr on my phone, and I had this little like thing, and I put in plain sight on there, and I put it on a post in like all the Facebook groups that I was in for the Delphi case of the 2019 presser. I'm like, because I wanted people to be like, I want you to get whoever's going, please take pictures of like the people that are there, because sometimes sometimes killers will go to events like that. And so I'm like, oh my gosh, he literally said, we think you're hiding in plain sight. Yeah. Did I think that? Like, he was like, no, like it's a coincidence. And it's like, I could go around and like, oh, I figured it out because I said hiding in plain sight, like take pictures of the crowd. Comes to find out he wasn't even there. But like, people think they've solved the case because they were able to say, oh, I think this is a lone wolf. It's like, no, just like I didn't do anything with my in plain sight little picture. Like, just happened to get one right. Like,
listen, let's think about the whole thing with Doug Carter is I really feel that a lot of the things he said, even though they were like one-liners, they had meaning. A lot of this stuff is psychological, and what
I did as soon as that was over, I went and looked at who did they pull over?
Percent big fish. I agree. What's that?
Who did they pull over after leaving that event? And I looked through infractions for weeks after that.
Who they pull over?
That the 2019 presser. Like if they're saying, you could be in this room.
Well, I remember also that they took down, had everybody write their names down of who was there.
Right.
There's reasons behind everything. There's reasons behind everything.
That's what I mean. And that's why it was like, ooh, if they think that this is, say they're doing this to rattle this person, like, hey, you thought we were going, we're now on a different direction. And you want to know what we know, one day you will. Like, all of those things were meant to incite the killer to take an action, a fear-based action. So I wanted to see if the patrolmen were pulling over certain people repeatedly to keep that pressure on, things like that.
And that happens. And that does happen, because I was asked in Reddit, they wanted me to cover like, what would happen after he was a suspect. Well, immediately you're going to be tailing him. If you have the time, I don't know. I don't really think there was enough time, because they arrested him, I believe, pretty quick after they interviewed him in October. But if you had time, we've used streetlight cameras before. Search warrant with a streetlight camera. We've used many different options.
Aaron Key. I mean, they knew they didn't have enough to necessarily get the indictment. So I mean, like Aaron Key, they follow that dude around openly of like, we're not going to let you out of our sight, but we got to get enough. We've got to get enough of a case that when we indict you, we know we can follow through with it.
Oh, 100% true, because we would use slap-on GPSs. And then I got certified in installing hardwire audio bugs in cars. Hardwire GPS in cars. We took a car right from the Jersey port, brought it, audio bugged it, GPSed it. 20 months we followed him, listened to everything. We were able to get into his house. We mapped his computer. I had nothing to do with that. I'm not a techie like that. But his computer was mapped directly to our wire room. So when he'd move his mouse, the computer would move. It was unbelievable. 27 wiretap case. It was amazing. And just everything that was done was unreal. But it was such a big case that we had the district attorney's office on speed dial, and there were ADAs directly in the case for certain things. Who's writing search warrants? Who's writing this?
I
It
love
was
those
a
kind of
great.
ADAs.
Yeah. Oh, they were awesome. They're no
I'm
bullshit.
gonna try this one day. I'm gonna go to that scene. Like
Yeah,
those are the best kind of ADAs to have.
Yeah, it was no bullshit. It was cool how like if they would swap phones, we'd have their phone back within 24 hours. You know, search warrant would be written, boom, right up on the line. It was unreal. It really was very cool. Very cool
Listen,
case.
dude, I gotta go. We gotta get to our total eclipse party, but it was great. I might go live. I don't know. I'm gonna take my camera. I was gonna kind of see if like what you could see if we could, what we can see from here.
Absolutely.
Well,
thank you for coming and hanging. Yeah. Aspen was I forgot Aspen was working today, but he was supposed to come on Friday, but he'll be on next time. I thought it was going to, when you said you were coming, I'm like, oh, it's going to be 3 of us. I sent him the link and he's like, I'm working today. I wish, but next time we'll do a little trio, and whoever else wants to come. Listen, it's always open. If anybody wants to come up, come on up. You know, you got something to say, you got a question to ask, it's always available. But thanks for hanging today. Appreciate it.
See you later, chat. Thanks.
Careful. Make sure you got your glasses on. All right. Until totality. Have those glasses
Bye, everybody.
on. You got it. All right. So thank you to Cold Truth for hanging. That was awesome. It was a good time, right? Always a good time. Hi, CD. I have a story. Okay. Let's hear your story. Let's hear your story. We got maybe 15 minutes left ish. I have to. I'm actually picking my 2 oldest kids up early for the eclipse, because my usually middle school gets out like 2:45, and I don't want her coming home that way. And my son, there's no bus today because it's right around the exact time. So I'm gonna pick them up early and bring them for lunch, and then be home and ready for the eclipse. Blood evidence. I don't know the source on that. Yeah. I know what you're talking about. I saw you up above saying it too. If you compare Delphi, hey, what's up, Bogey? If you compare Delphi murders with any standard cold case, how many similarities were there before the arrest? Well, I mean, honestly, it's just. I mean, there's always going to be some similarities, but again, no crime scene is the same. No murder scene is the same. Violence comes in many forms. I've seen some really gruesome ones, and then ones that like strangulation. Had one guy, I talk about it often, that he killed his mother and his brother. Mother with the knife, brother with the shotgun to the face. Terrible. Seen some nasty things, and you just got to file them away. Valentine's course after being only post 1 teen under sticker. Hey, Rick. Ability of the state pay for defense. So quickly getting to what would have happened. I mean, this happened quick with Richard Allen. So yeah, they were probably tailing him. I don't really. I mean, they might have got enough time for a GPS and slapped one on his car. Probably a wiretap. It just depends. It really does. This is Carroll County, so I won't say definitely. But if this was with me, and that's what we would have done, But definitely tails at all times. You're definitely tailing. So that's the way of the world, right? Free country. Free thoughts. That's the way it is here. It's when somebody's attacking somebody, it's different. But you're allowed to speak your mind. How, when, and why Richard Allen was reported. Are you telling the story? I'm happy to be cross-examined by yourself. Simon, am I missing something there? You said you had a story. I have a story. Defense doesn't have to prove innocence. That's the thing. Well, listen, the defense's job is to do exactly what they've done. And some of the things are questionable, but they wanted to get, a theory out there, and it's all about, just helping your client. That's just their job. Evansdale is often compared to Delphi. Evansdale might be worse because the girls were younger, riding their bikes, small town on a summer day, and they were dumped in the vehicle. And I agree that they were compared to being similar. I don't think, listen, any age of a child is terrible. What happened is very disturbing to those kids. And I think eventually they'll get there. I just think they're missing something. Something's missing. How did two kids get grabbed and their bikes were left behind? I mean, that's just a question. That's a big question to me. $5 days to show ballistics back, be super fast. I mean, I don't see it coming back that fast in New York City, but is that how long it took to get the ballistics back here? It could be, depending on what they got going on. We got drugs that are tested and they don't come back for 4 months. It's kind of crazy, but that's just the way it is. Even if you field test it, it still takes time for the lab to go through everything because they're very busy. It's just they have a ton of cases to go through. Simon Wright said, I tipped RA as BG in 2021. Oh, that's interesting. Simon, send me an email, analysisofcrime@gmail.com, and link your video to me. I don't know if it's under your name. I'll watch it, and we could talk about it on my next live if you want. That's fine. I don't know anything about it, but I don't mind talking to you after watching it. That's interesting. Do you live in Delphi? I wouldn't be cross-examining you if you have truth to it, but I'll talk to you about it. I don't see a reason to cross-examine you. So what else does anybody have before we end today's live? I know we went off. Listen, whenever you have a guest on, sometimes you go off the rails and you talk about other things. It's just the way it is, It's just the way it is, and you get away from your main subject. But I think we talked a lot about Rich and Allen, about the case, about it should be viewed. I 100% feel it should be live. There's no reason not to have cameras. There's nothing to hide. It should all be out there. This is a case that it all should be out there. There's no reason not to. But we'll see how it goes. Like anything else, we'll see. Said recently, it's been said there's not right no one has dug out the property record as far as I know. Is she talking about Richard Allen's home? I believe it was paid for cash. I've heard that from the beginning, that it was paid for cash. I don't know why. I didn't see the comment, so I'm not sure why we're questioning that, if that's what we're questioning. Well, you got to remember something, Ms. Purse. They're gonna go after the witnesses that were on the trail. They're gonna go through each of their statements, and they're gonna pick things apart. That's just the way it goes. That's they want to put doubt out there, and that's it. However they do that, they're gonna do it. They're gonna attempt to do it. Expert testimony is gonna come to go against what they have. Especially with the unspent bullet, that's going to come up. The striation marks on it. That's every piece they're gonna try and go after. Forensic analysis of the bullet for the crime scene should have already been completed as evidence before they got the bullet from Allen's house. Yes, ISP took 5 days to match the unspent round to Ari's gun. Okay, I don't doubt that could be possible. I don't. Because especially that was unspent, they didn't have to, fire the gun to do that part. I'm sure they fired anyway. They got to make sure it works. You got to do that it was a working firearm. But yeah, they would have the same, bullet, and they're gonna rack it, and they're gonna eject it and compare. I just that's just the ejecting part bothers me. It's hard to say 100% that that's going to be the end all. One second, sorry. My daughter was just texting me from school, making sure I'm coming. The best way to get real estate info is go to county courthouse. True. Yeah. Oh, thanks, Miss Doglover. It's always appreciated. Always appreciated. Evan Zale, to me, seems very similar to the case in the UK, Babes in the Woods murders. Look it up. I got to give that a view and check that out. Interesting. Thanks for hanging. I appreciate it. I think Friday we're going to do another live. We'll see. Either Thursday or Friday. And hope everybody hangs. I also think that I kind of screwed up this live by having it at 11 p.m. up until like 9:45. I didn't know. I thought I put a.m. Ari was arrested about 2 weeks after the initial search of his home. It applies to me. Some evidence needed to be analyzed in the lab. Well, yeah, and also there at that point, what's the rush? Especially if they got a tail on him. It's not like he's going anywhere. There's nowhere for him to go. Different if it would be a lot different if there was if it just would be a lot different if there was some other circumstances. I'll say that, but I don't think he was going anywhere. Oh yeah, digital, but I still think that's super fast. It's a subjective field, and I believe it could create a bias possibly. Oh, and somebody asked me about putting CC on. If anybody knows how to do that on StreamYard, I can't do it. I looked it up and I didn't find anything. What I did find is if I went straight YouTube live on the YouTube app, that would be different and that would work. But I don't know how to do it from StreamYard, and nothing was answered to do it. What kind of plea deal could Rick benefit from, in your opinion? Like, where is he located? His time, maybe. Well, let's see through. What if they take off? I mean, Indiana, they go for death penalty. What if they take that off? They take it off the table for a plea deal for life in prison. That's a high possibility that could happen. A big fish. I've never really paid attention to that. But I could do it and look next time we're on. I'll talk about it. I never checked an unspent round after ejecting it, but maybe that's something I'll do before the next live and go over it. The information is being posted later. Something maybe they are protecting the new buyer. Unusual. Oh, you guys are talking about if the house was sold. I got you now. Now I'm following. Just want to the date that the bullet was first analyzed to be the same as when Wimber's gun or other guns were compared. Yeah, but digital. Why would the guns be why would it be the same date? Oh, you're talking about when the bullet was found. I thought you were talking about when his gun was taken in 2022. I thought that's what you meant. But now I got you. I understand what you're saying now. Yeah, I just think that it's going to be interesting how it's presented and how it's fought by the defense is what I'll say on that. It's going to be interesting. So what else do we want to go to before we close out for the day? Anything else we want to talk about? We're almost at 2 hours, 1:58 and 36. Thank you guys for all being here. Thanks for the late happy birthdays. Appreciated. And I'll leave it open. I always like to leave the chat open because I just interact with you guys for a few minutes before I fully close it out. And we go over things. But maybe Thursday we'll do a live. Listen, email me, analysisofcrime@gmail.com. Tell me what you want to talk about. Tell me what questions you have. Anything you guys want, I'm here. Let me know. All right. Thanks, guys. I'll see you guys this week. Thanks, everybody. I appreciate you all being here. See you soon.